Hey guys, Pestering Crow back again to do another tactical perspective toy review. Only I'm doing it on a Monday and not a Friday. So why is that? Well, I'm working a little outside the norm this week, and I was doing some looking at my Joe collection, and I was realizing that I have a lot of Joes, like a lot of Joes. Now I realized a lot of you probably have even more Joes, and a lot of the guys I follow have tons more Joes. But what I don't have, and what was bothering me, was my Cobras were looking a little lackluster by comparison. There just wasn't that many in my collection for comparison, right? Like, it just didn't feel fair. It felt like Joe had all the compelling characters and Cobra had but a few, and then tons of army builders. And if you're like me, which most of you I find are, army building isn't exactly the most appealing thing. It's fine if somebody's just throwing you presents of action figures like they did when you were a kid at Christmas. Pardon the hand. I'm just going to set this down so we can talk. So you guys go to the kitchen, grab your coffee, come back while I get the camera sorted out. There we go. Nope, there we don't go. So I mean, like, army building now in a G.I. Joe classified area or arena, pardon me, is a lot different, right? It's not the same price point at all, and I think that's as good as I'm going to get it for today, gentlemen. Whatever, I'll make that work for us. All right, I'll work around you. There we go. So it's just not the same, paying $35 here in Canada for a figurine to up to $45 and even $75, depending on if they're deluxe figurines. Army building becomes very niche. Either you're dedicating a lot of your budget to it or you're not. And I, being a retired Canadian Armed Forces veteran, have to live off of a fixed income. So I have my budget and I'm living comfortably. Like, I don't want for anything, but I wouldn't consider myself a rich man or a man with a lot of disposable cash. Everything has a place to go to keep me well for the rest of my life, as was always the plan. And I owe a lot of that to my spouse, who does all our finances, another military member with a lot more brains in her head than I had. So I call her Niner Domestic. And so army building, compiling these figures, I have to think about it. Well, honey, I bought a new figure today. She'd be like, yeah, that's fine. I'd be like, well, actually, I bought 5 of these figures today. Well, why'd you buy 5? Because I'm army building. She wouldn't understand after that part, right? You'd understand. I'd understand. Anybody collecting G.I. Joe at any point in their life over the span of this line would understand. But the financial household and the balance of a relationship as an adult might not so much. So, long story short, that's why I keep the reviews usually to a Friday. It's predicted I would buy a figure, but you guys know me. Lately, it's been kind of sad the last couple of weeks. Started off exciting with Hawk and Helix and Shockwave and even Buzzer. But this last week or two, I find myself lying awake at night thinking about, when's my Ripper showing up? When's GameStop calling? Oh my goodness, I really want to look at Ripper. I want to add him to my Dreadnoks. I want him to add to my lackluster Cobra supply. And yet I hear nothing. Still nothing here in Ottawa this morning. And then I ordered Wolf Spider. I finally figured out the Walmart ordering system. I get on with Night Force and I go right after the only available figure I can find, which is fine. It's Wolf Spider. But now I find myself waiting till January for this one, and I'm really looking forward to that. So am I down about the figures I've been buying lately? I bought a second Grunt. I didn't bother doing another review. I did that so I could do Steel Core. Got myself Copperhead, and I did a review on that. And you guys learned I don't mind Copperhead. Just was low on the wrist because I think of these guys. But then Niner Domestic said, Ryan, you didn't look too happy with your last couple of things. And I said, well, there's other figures I'm waiting on. She's like, what about buying yourself a special set? And I said, okay, I think I will. And so we're going after the Crimson Strike team today. So, before I do this unboxing, and guys, I hate unboxing. I really do. I like looking at the figure before I make the video. But I felt like this box was worth really getting into, and I wanted you to see it before, at the same time I did, to see if my impressions of it are genuine or if they have to grow. I also have the original Tomac, Zaymont, and Baroness here for comparisons, and I'll be doing that in the video. But in order to do it, I first have to really get into why I picked this set, as opposed to just going out and buying some troop build figures, which you'd think I'd do when your wife says go out and buy yourself a few figures to cheer up. So it all starts with the story of Chuckles. Chuckles, the San Diego Comic-Con or whatever, PulseCon exclusive figure, and the story that goes with that set, you know, is I found it was compelling enough that I wanted this figure, and I haven't been able to get it. And there's that stability issue with that gooseneck camera. I really wanted to get this figure, but I have not been able to see it so far up here in Ontario. So hopefully one day I'll stumble across this sitting up on a GameStop shelf and swoop in like the Crow does. This is my strategy for Mindbender and anything else. But in this, he completes a mission to go and retrieve the bat files, the Crimson bat files, from Cobra. And he does so by fighting his way through the Crimson Guard vipers and bats and getting the files and escaping. And if you look in the background at this computer, let me grab my little pointer here. This computer here, on there you can see Tomac, Zaymont, and the Baroness very upset because they're watching Chuckles get away with the file, and now their plans are ruined. And there's a close-up of that angry team there, and Chuckles gloating with that bat file. And that was enough. I was like, you know what? All right, I'm in so far. I like that there's a story. And then sure enough, to follow it up, they released the Crimson Strike team, which is what I've got in my hands today. Tomac, Zaymont, and Baroness, all resculpts, I believe, all repaints. Sorry, not resculpts, but repaints with new features and accessories. And Baroness, as everybody knows, is coming with some different head sculpts, and there's going to be just some different features with this set. And this is to help support the build of your, what's in the box? We'll get there. This is all to help support the build of a Crimson Guard army list, which is what I'm out to do. Right? Why am I choosing the Crimson Guard? Because I was late to the game, couldn't get the traditional blue Cobra officer and troopers without paying an exorbitant price to do that. Do I plan on buying a large army and troop building like mad? No, I'm just buying a couple representations of each figure so it represents a larger force. And I think the Crimson Guard, by definition and by explanation of who they are, is perfect for that. The only other available troops I see that I could troop build off of, or have potential troop build off of, would be the Snow Serpents at a deluxe price set for every infantry you get, then augmented by the Arctic Bat, and both of those are extremely difficult, but I do expect maybe at some point there'd be an Arctic Viper of some sort to get into that mix. And I do plan on buying at least a couple of representations of those if I can ever find them. Python Patrol is the only other big option out here, and while I do like the black version, like the officer, the one that has all the black bodysuit with just a bit of green, I like that figure overall from the line. I am not a fan of Python Patrol, so I certainly wouldn't want to troop build them if I have no intention of actually buying any of them if I can avoid it. So the Crimson Guard became more and more compelling, and the more I read about it, the idea of a very small, tight troop build made more sense, because as we know, while you are seeing them in mass in this picture, these are your neighbors, your undercover agents. This is why they work as CGs, as they're nicknamed, because they spring out from amongst us and suddenly take control of our entire country or area, right? In a siege manner. So in order to do that, I want to just quickly dive into what we know about that. So I'm gonna read you this really quick, and this isn't for the guys that are diehard Joe fans of the lore and understand all the comics and saw everything. This is for the guys that are playing catch up like me, as to why the Crimson Guard are so compelling and why it makes sense, especially financially, responsibly, for a little tight knit army like this, and how that led to me buying this box set. So really quick. The file name and birthplace are irrelevant. These guys are from all over the place, and the primary military specialty is, guess what? Infantry! Secondary intelligence. It seems like every other character in the Joe universe has those two specialties, but they don't even talk about the subspecialty because that's part of their cover, but these guys have a very special specialty, unique to each individual, right? Somewhere in the civilian world. So it says, upon creation of the vast terrorist army known as Cobra, its leader, Cobra Commander, realized he'd need a more subversive group of soldiers to represent him in the political, financial, and judicial arenas. It was for this reason that he commissioned the creation of the Crimson Guard. Comprised of lawyers, accountants, and businessmen, the Guard fight their battles in the courtrooms and boardrooms of America, rather than risking the loss of their talents on the field of battle. And you guys heard me talk about that in my Crimson Guard review. It's relevant. They are also partially responsible for legally raising the capital necessary to fund Cobra's terrorist operations. So they're the legit financiers. They're the ones that make legit operational funds, as opposed to just, terrorism and stealing and all that other stuff, right? Most CGs, as they are often referred to, assume completely new identities and become undercover agents for Cobra. They ingratiate themselves into the communities to which they are assigned, posing as normal citizens. Some have even undergone plastic surgery to possess the same face, so that in the event one falls, another can take his place seamlessly. The most famous of these cosmetically altered CGs were the Fred series, on one of which, Fred 7, assumed Cobra Commander's identity for a time after presumably killing him. The practice of facial reconstruction since has been abandoned, so for a little while there was a whole bunch of them looking alike, and we see that in the pics in a minute. The Crimson Guard was eventually placed under the supervision of the Corsican twins, Tomax and Zaymont, whose Paolis, whose business, extensive enterprises, employs a number of guardsmen. It was under the twins' direction that the Guard became a more efficient arm of Cobra Command. So this is when Cobra Commander kind of starts losing the grip on the Guard, and other interests, while aligned and while in the name of Cobra Commander, are working a little bit outside of him. The Crimson Guard must remain in top physical condition, in addition to maintaining their skills off the field, and undergo a rigorous training regime that is rumored to be the most demanding of any of Cobra's troops. It is during this time that their allegiance to Cobra, and specifically Cobra Commander, are tested time and again. To be a guardsman, one must pledge unswerving loyalty to the Cobra Commander. We also learned when I was looking into them, they also have a very dark ritual, which one doesn't speak of, like an initiation process. And I'll talk about that at the end, but there you go. So what we have accessible right now for the Crimson Guard, and again, coming to why we get these, Crimson Guard soldiers, as you know, I was a big fan. I got a couple of those. Just so you know, they do dip into the Valorverse. Who Valorverse are the one that everybody wants but can't get easily out here. And I do understand that it's a volatile relationship between Joe Hasbro and Valorverse, and legal properties and competition. But me, just as a pure-hearted kid in a 50-year-old body, I love them all. But anyways, they made their way over there to the UK. There's some pictures of the Crimson Guard in action. Yay, pairs of them. And then we do have the retro card. I haven't seen it here in Canada yet, but it is out there. As soon as I see it, I will grab it. But I have a feeling they're being grabbed quick because, again, troop builds. The difference being is that different color backpack, different color face mask. Just very, very slight differences. Enough so that you could perhaps denote a single one amongst two others as an higher rank or something like that, right? Depending on how you offset them. So again, affordable army building options available that other than Python Patrol. They'll of course be joined and are joined by a Crimson Viper. So I have one. From what I read of the Crimson Viper, they're the most dangerous of all the Vipers. Maybe I'll get two, but that's it. Maybe I'm happy with one. And there you go. You see him heroically standing there like, I'm the badass of all the badass Vipers. And then the bat is available, and you can sometimes get that at good rates in the big box toy stores, taking advantage of sales where you can, and it's a respectable figure. I liked it a lot, actually. I didn't think I'd like the bats as much as I did, but Classified made me like bats, and I wasn't that big of a fan of them as kids. And then the ever elusive to me Alley Viper, this time the Crimson Guard variant, which I will get from Walmart.com now that I have established that CPNet and comms link with them, and have already initiated that process with the Wolf Spider. As soon as I see a Crimson Guard Alley Viper available, I plan on having two, because I'm just about the redundancy, and I love the defensive idea of two riot shields flanking a commander. That works for me. And there you have that. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, what's in the box? It's an unboxing, get to the box. And I say, well, just hang on. Remember in a previous video, I've been talking about the 93, 92, 91, all the way down to 82 series. I did make the recommendations that if you were going to dip into those post 87, let's say, anything after 87, I started picking one Cobra, one Joe kind of stuff, and said, if you're going to do it Hasbro for a classified line, I would pick this one. I have been picking the Crimson Guard options from the late 90s because a lot of them would fold in okay with these, like the Crimson Guard Viper Commander or whatever he is, and the Immortal. Which I think was to replace the standard trooper. I think one of each would be fine in a collection if those ever appeared on the market in the next few years. Again, building up the Crimson Guard army in the future. So there you go, Crimson Guard. So I talk about that dark ritual, right? In my mind, it's not as dark, or it's way darker than just, telling your agent after months of training, okay, now kill your dog. It's not that kind of thing. I think these guys get tested in a way that might be darker, like, I want you to go to your dinner table, answer the phone, and then take your wife out. Or something equally dark. Like, I don't feel like anything's off limits for these guys. I think this is a real bad player on the field. Very dark overtones for a guy like me when I think of what the Crimson Guard could be portrayed as and what they are in my mind, right? We've talked about your individual Joe universes, what you see and things like that. That would be what mine would see, right? So yeah, okay, I get it. Let's get to the box. I've been waiting all afternoon and all morning to get into this. The Crimson Guard are ready to go with their new strike team, and let's go into it. So the first thing I did, guys, is I did just take the tape off of this and remove the external cardboard sheath protectant layer just to get that out of the way so we wouldn't have to watch that on the video. But there's one side, it's the Cobra emblem, and then on the other is the Corsican and Company of the Paoli Brothers Extensive Enterprises, right? So it's a briefcase represented here. Okay, much as I guess Chuckles was an old television set, this is a briefcase. Okay, and it says Crimson Strike Team on it. And it did have a QR code, which I found was interesting, but all it did, I did scan that one, and all it did is just take me to a site to ask me if I wanted to pay anything. And then you can see it has a digital lock, and it's got some weird, it's letter codes. It's not number codes. Roman numerals, or no, it looks like standard alphabet. XMT, or TMX, Tomax, Zaymont on the letter locks. I just noticed that. That's the combination. One is Tomax and one is Zaymont to open this briefcase. There you go. Okay, so maybe see my first impressions of this. Okay, that was kind of neat. All right, so the box has a magnetic flap, and I guess it's just the same thing mirrored. Yep, same thing mirrored. I won't notice it, and I'm not going to go any further into this box, guys, because the rest of it, I do notice it's rid of full bullet holes on this side. Was it on there before? No. There you go. So external part, it's protected. Internal part, it's been shot up. All right. Here's your detail about that. I really want to just get into the box. So magnetic flap open, Tomax Amot in, let's see what we got. All right, and so I know a lot of you guys have seen all this online. I have not. And I wasn't going to get this, guys, because I already had a Baroness. I had two Baronesses because I came across a second Cobra coil, so I got it as part of a deal when I got my breaker. So I wasn't really going to get this for the Baroness. And for Tomax and Zaymont, I just had the standard releases of those. And as unimpressive as they were ticked off my list. And you guys know I was never a big Tomax and Zaymont character guy. But they're growing on me when I start looking at the darker potential of these guys and try to ignore the comical link between them, right? So you see them, this is what Chuckles was looking at, and now they're looking at it inside. It's a tech briefcase. We've got all these dials and Cobra speakers, gauges, whatever. This is clearly the briefcase I think he stole here with the bat design. So we're looking at what this is the Chuckles briefcase. Okay, so we've got all the gauges and everything, and he's stolen this, and there's the frequencies. So he's got the comms that they operate off of on here. He's got so much into here. I don't blame them for looking all pissed off here, right? All right, and then we got this bat file. Let's have a look at that. That's a neat little, just a little neat piece of artwork. It's what's inside the briefcase. It's supposed to cover. It's just that layer to make it look like the briefcase has depth. And it is clearly the Crimson Bat on display with a little bit of schematical information and some checklists over here that it's been inspected, authorizations and secret information inside this file folder. And then just a quick glimpse of its head being assembled, right? Very interesting little common office file. You can see somebody spilt coffee on it already. That's a very Crow thing. I would have done that, but I want to point out it came out of the box without it. I didn't actually do it. On the other side, we've got those gold press bars that were also in the briefcase that we saw in the Chuckles box spilling out of it, right? So that you can display your box any way you want there. I think that's really cool. That is neat. That is very neat. Okay, during this, I'm going to do my standard tactical perspective way. I'm going to give each figure a quick head-to-toe inspection, understanding that I've inspected pretty much all of these guys before in some way, shape, or form. So it's more of a review for change and what's changed and what's been retained or worked better. And what else will I do? I'll give that playability grade and that everything else grade. And yeah, we'll just talk about these figures a little bit. So let's get the camera up and over so we can see inside the box. So here you can see these things are coffin cased in a very presentable way. I'm just going to move the light over here so we can see them better. There we go. And I will pull out the originals that I have and compare them. So I'll go grab those while we look at this. But you can see they are a coffin box with the Baroness in the middle. Her glasses aren't a part of her sculpt, so they're freed up. And then you've got Tomax and Zaymont, and they do look almost identical molds to what I'm used to with mine. So we'll grab Baroness. We'll knock over everybody else. There's going to be a change to the hierarchy soon anyways. And we'll grab Tomax and Zaymont. There we go. There. I'll liberate my pointer. So I probably could have clipped this faster. Oh, damn it. I just ripped. Did you see that? Oh, bloody hell. That was so stupid. That was dumb. Oh, well. It's such a Crow thing to do. I am just trying to find a way to unclip. And there we go. So we're just going to unclip this. With the twists. Oh, that's clipped in really well too. There we go. And so, why did I buy this after? I really, before I was saying I wasn't going to get this. Again, it comes down to that army build. It came down to, it was something really nice. Yeah, I'm not overly upset about that, guys. I'm not that kind of a collector. A small rip in a box isn't going to ruin what joy I get out of these. So we'll get the Baroness down there for you, next to her. and then I'll quickly try to liberate these. But what changed it was when I saw just how the Crimson Guard was kind of my big choice. And when in between the release runs, there is that time where you kind of have the first 4 or 5 of the figures and nothing new is coming out, but there are these troop builds out there, and I was seeing that a lot with the Viper and the Bat, and for a little while I was seeing it with the Crimson Guard trooper as well. And I know with the Python Patrol, a lot of guys are fans, and I'm not going to slam the Python Patrol, but I didn't want to back that if I had a better option in any way, shape, or form. And like I said, when I did my reading on the Crimson Guard, this appealed to me because you gotta know the Crow's a bit dark with his sense of humor and his taste of things. So doing an army like them just kind of made sense. I'm just going to take that clean off for a second and pull out these interesting ammo boxes that come with each of them. That's one for the brothers. There's the Baroness. Oops. And there's the other brothers. So I think that's pretty much all the box really features. I'm not going to pull out the interior of the box. I'm going to get into the accessories, and then we'll get those head to toes on the way. But very interesting box. And I will be displaying it, but not in the open case form as much as closed. I see this more as a background display for my army than anything, like so, or as a stage perhaps like so, or just up on the shelf as the briefcase that it is. But there you go, guys. That's the box. Really nice box. Yeah, I ripped a little bit, but I'll cover that up, fix it up as best I can, and live with it. Live with it as I live with all the screw-ups I ever do. So just initially looking at the sculpt here, I'm just going to change my angle so I can join you guys over here and have a look. Some things I'm noticing right away is I'm a bigger fan of that paint job than I thought I would be initially. You could definitely see the tone differences between the breastplating and the bodysuit she's wearing. The head sculpt here without the mask is not the same head sculpt she had, or is it? It's pretty tough to tell. I know it does appear to be a different head sculpt entirely from the Coil Baroness head sculpt, but not too dissimilar. And the hair is very much different. There seems to be a lot more body in the hair, and it's not square cut at the back as it was with her before. It's shorter. Interesting. She still has that cross belt loop. I know I modified mine with the other coil one there, but same pattern, no change to that. But we don't have these thigh thing yet. I'm wondering if that's an accessory in there. I'm looking forward to seeing how loaded out she gets with her accessories. So we got her compared, and we'll look at some of those accessories. But we're doing an adapted head-to-toe, guys, because we've all seen these figures. You've probably seen these reviews. I'm just doing my impression. So we've got the Scarred brother. I can't remember if that's Tomax or Zaymont. I feel like it's Zaymont, but I don't know, guys. I'd have to look at the box and waste time. There you go. There's a comparison. So again, same sculpts, same exact molds. The difference being in the colors. I do like those color set a bit stronger than this one, but this one is very much the traditional one I remember as a kid, you know, so it curries some favor there. But the head sculpt is the same. It does look like that scar is been made a little bit more noticeable, like a little bit deeper red on that scar. And if I were to look at the backside, I don't really see any differences except for straps that aren't painted the black that they were. Now they're gray for some reason. So that actually, you know what? That's the benefit of being a twin brother. It's one school photo all times. You know what I mean? Like, do I have to review the other brother? I don't think I do. I think I could snap right into Kit, right? Yeah, I'm glad we all agree. I see y'all nodding your heads along. Like, moving along, oh man. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, humorously, guys, you know, I said Niner Domestic said I could go out and get my toys today like this. And, you know, I'm very appreciative of it. And I know there's some younger guys out there, and I just wanted you to know I'm a big boy. And I asked my wife permission. I'm 50 years old. I'm a big boy. And I could have easily sold all my Pog collection, as you guys think we boomers do. I think that's probably the most ridiculous misconception I've ever heard of our generation. That we all held on to Pogs like they're NFTs and Bitcoins, you know. Not at all, but all right. So this is one thing that was in the box. I'm just gonna rip her open. What a satisfying feeling. And what do we get? It feels like we get bases. We get bases with these guys. So a Cobra base. Me foolishly forgot that that was true. I think I knew that before. But I had my retro Cobra bases set aside. So we'll give this base over to one of the Paoli twins. Once I line up the peg without snapping an ankle, and I will check these things for quality control and articulation and all that stuff later, guys. Like more thoroughly right now. This is just about my first impressions. This is more a reaction to a special set than it is to the figures themselves, which, as I keep saying, we've seen. So there are remolds, whatever issues we had with the original Paoli brothers and the Baroness, I'm sure we're going to have again. However, I expect the Baroness to be better because it does have some, it does look like the heads are better molds and things like that. So we'll just see where that takes us, guys. Inside that box also was that, you know, the Heckler, Koshler, minigun, or whatever that one is. My eyes are not what they used to be, even with this prescription. And then another silencer, and you'll see, very delicate pin, just like them all, but the guns are actually gold while the silencer is red, and that's very interesting. And then he's got his gold daggers, and these are way better, I think, than the first version of these knives that we got with the Paoli brothers with the black and silver. There's something just, I think it's the blade I like better. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's almost like a more gunmetal blade to it, a richer defining blade. They look more special. I was never a fan of the big jagged sacrifice ritual knife. But that was neat to see that, like, this paint really does shine on them as opposed to the dull steel gloss we were used to. So that's really all I expect out of that bag. We'll just yeah, we'll just get it in his hand, if only so I don't knock it on the floor for now. We'll slide these into the holsters, and then we'll see what the other bag is. If it's the other brother, I'll just do that off camera somewhere. But we are trying to get to the Baroness, where a lot of the features, I think, are what everybody was convinced they wanted out of this set. Me, I was just, you know what? You've got the opportunity to do it. You've got the army you're trying to build. This makes sense for you right now. So I will weigh out if it was balanced as far as cost to me. I think I was alluding to that earlier. With my GameStop membership, I managed to pick this up at $136, I think, all said and done Canadian. That was taxes in. I think $150 is what it is when you don't have a membership, whatever it is. And so already I'm looking, that's a bit over top for some reprints and repaints. Accessories or no, bases or no, you're averaging $50 a figure, when for me at this point I'm averaging about, I'd say, $45 a figure, I think, is a fair estimate. $45 a figure. So I'm seeing if that's worth it to me. $45 a figure is worth, and it was the other Paoli brothers, so I'll just stand them up and not overly. Oh, the knives weren't in there, were they? Hang on. Did I just short myself? Yeah, I did. I'll be weighing it whether it's actually worth that price. So one of the things I'll factor in right now is that the weapon quality is better than you would expect. Okay, and oh, I should also mention, I'm just noticing that now, these bases are personalized. So whether I have the brothers on the right base or right not is not going to matter, but there you go. You can see that it's written that it is the Crimson Strike Zaymont. And on this one, Crimson Strike Tomax. So these are upgrades to the quality of the accessories that we were seeing before. But whether or not that makes it worth more to you or not, you don't have to factor that in. I kind of do. I asked, like, did you put an did you learn English? Did you put extra effort into taking something that was a little lackluster to put some new light and emphasis on it? I'll always factor that in. I think that's worthwhile. When I look at Joe Designs, right, I don't think designers necessarily just get to pick what guy they work on. I think it's assigned to them like any other good business. You take your talents and you put them where you apply them, and you decide that on a command level, not on a voluntary basis. Are there guys that probably do get to choose certain projects and whatnot? Sure, probably. There might even be guys who are assigned to just certain parts of the figure. I can see that being incredibly likely and incredibly workable for a team, right? People who take passion in just small areas so they can get the products out. So the reuse of molds and the reuse of different pieces and seeing them reflected in different characters, I totally can get behind. You don't want to burn out your creative guys, right? They're not like the Crow. They're not going to talk about Joe every day, all day, all the time. These guys are going to work on a design passionately for several weeks, months, whatever, and throw everything they have at it and need a rest, right? So I can respect these kind of things about the figures as well. All right, so now we're getting into the Baroness's stuff. Oh my gosh, I gotta be careful here. So I got a big old silencer. I got some very cool yellow lens glasses of hers. Let me get that up. Very nice. Wonder how these would look on Buzzer. We'll eventually find out. Look at that machete. Very nice. Again, same kind of blade. It's something different than what you're used to seeing with the metals. I don't even think they've done this for swords for the ninjas in our thing. This reflective, it's almost a chrome. I would say it's a chrome. That's very good. We've got a new variant. Oh, that's nice actually. So that is nice now. Okay. I was never really a big fan of this Cobra that came with the Baroness. This thing, this drone gun or whatever, I set it up on my Cobra Island as climbing trees and being like island sentries. I thought that was reasonable enough to have them. I had two of them after all. But they were a stiffer rubber, kind of had to bend them to get on and everything like this. The new one, being the black and gold, is almost like out of a vending machine kind of rubber. Very pliable and flexible. So you can wrap this around a lot of different stuff. I can see this having a lot of potential. Look at that, Cobra coil. So that's kind of cool. I'll uncoil it so it doesn't unsettle it, but you get the point. I didn't think that would surprise me. I really didn't. Damn you. Good job, little Cobra. Surprising me like that. Where were you? Are you worth the price? Well, it doesn't hurt the price, I'll tell you that. I did not expect that to surprise me at all. All right, what else did I get in here? There's another hair sculpt. So it's her hair that pops off? Oh, yeah. So if I wasn't a fan of that, we can go with that hair. Now it's got me wondering if this is compatible with Lady J and Zorana. I'll have to check that out later, see if these hair pieces fit anywhere. Shipwreck. Oh my God, yes. You will see if this fits Shipwreck right now. So there she is. She's got her more luscious, sweet, blowing flow. Again, not even just copping out and giving you that haircut again. It's moving in the wind. It's got a lot of sculpt to it. Very smooth. And you know what? She looking a little pissed off, ain't she? And I think this is the one that you slide the glasses into. So we'll do those before I lose them or before Buzzer steals them. Or I get any other crazy ideas of what to do with them. But yeah, they slipped in over the ears, and then the hair sculpt should help keep those on, I think. If I put them on properly, let's see. QC issue? No, not seeing a QC issue so far at all. Some of these accessories are exemplary, guys, and I'm saying that not because I'm biased and I want this to work. I'm saying this because I kind of wrote them off in my head saying, they're just going to be reprints. Don't expect much. And I didn't expect much. And lower your expectations and you will get surprised. I'm really noticing this paint on the Baroness too, guys. I really want to show you. It's better than I thought from the pics. Once you get it in your hands, those tone differences really show up. Those gloves are they're actually really cool. They're like black leather. I don't think we've seen these hands or gloves before. They're a different kind of glove design. They're very technical looking gloves. I almost want to say they're like Kevlar gloves in the fingers, but they look comfortable, relaxed fit. But even the silvers that are showing up on here are again that chrome silver, and I liken this very much to very well done Marvel Iron Man as far as the chroming and metallics on what they've got going there. And I mean, a really well done. And this is not being a figure expert. You guys know all I do is classify, but I do see these things on the shelves like other figures. And I have had figures before that have been enough for me to buy them, but classified is my jam, right? So that's pretty cool. Let's see what else we get in here. We get another one of those machetes. That's good because she's paired weapons fighting. We get another one of these silencers, but I'll show those once I figure out what silencer we got. There's her base, so let's get that out, and we'll get her standing up on that base really quick so we can move that on. Acha, acha. All right. All right, so yeah, this was the other part of it. So we've got this mask, and I thought I'd see one for the brothers as well. I hope they're in there, but maybe they're not. I thought the brothers had a mask as well. Maybe I just misunderstood that. All right, so we get a lot of weapons here. We get the, I'm going to put the silencers on these pistols, but we get the reprint of the Snake Eyes Uzis as well. We get duos of those. So if you're not satisfied with the weapon options for your Paola, or your Paola brothers, whatever, your bros, that's fine. So we got the twin guns with the silencers that are removable. Again, that gold and red. Not bad. That'll be for the Baroness and her back holsters. I'm going to check right now and see if the articulation allows her to reach those now. That was the big complaint on her predecessor. One of the big complaints was her articulation would not allow her arm, like butterfly movement, to do the old reach back and grab, and now we see that we can in fact get that done while I rip her face apart. No, what I'll do is I'll take that advantage and put the other glasses on her. And we'll do that. The old school non-yellowed lenses that also are a part of that kit. So the more traditional Baroness. And there you go. And you can see that she can in fact do that rearward grip. I'll settle that hair back down and show it to you on the other pistol and see if she can do the double fister. Double fister. Like she's got beer bottles. Yeah. That's the other reason why I buy so much of these guys. This isn't me flexing, like, look at me, I buy a lot of Joes, ha ha ha. It's not me trying to be in your face. I'm trying to, like I said, tell you where I see a good use of money and a bad use of money if you're being scrutinous about your Joe collection. And this has been replacing, I don't do things like, I don't drink, guys. I used to have an amazing liquor bottle collection, but then I gave that up because I earned it too well. And ever since I gave up that particular collection, I have been able to dial down other collections. And this one, you know, Niner Domestic supported it. And I'm really happy she greenlit this. This Baroness is, I think, worth the hype that I've been hearing about it. I am pretty impressed with this Baroness entirely. Be it a reuse of an old sculpt as it is, they've definitely fixed some definite flaws with the arms. You know, you could see the old arms had these gauntlets, and I think that was creating a lot of issues, and just a very difficult sculpt elbow. And the new one, they've changed all that, and that lent to an easier figure to manipulate. Same as the shoulder flash stuff on the original was inhibiting a lot of her shoulder rotation and butterfly joint movement. That's been corrected and streamlined down to a point where what you're looking at is a very well articulated figure. And you know, the other day I was talking about the reviews and other reviewers, and that I was getting into watching It's Chad and an articulated ninja talking about certain figures, and he had mentioned that the Helix figure was the best sculpt in the Joe line. So I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it in my, I think I'm gonna put it in the description of the video. I just want to know what articulated ninja thought with about the Crimson Strike Baroness with the regards to comparing it to Helix. Is she also like tied for first, or is she second in your choice for the top female in the GI Joe classified line? And would that the fact that it's only available in a box set be the main other factor that would affect your decision on that? That's why I'm going to ask them that question in this video. So if Articulated Ninja's watching, there's your question. But guys, overall, so you also got the two Uzis. Bow bow bow. Clow. I know we've seen a lot of these. I'm kind of getting tired of the Uzis and the Mac 10s and everything like that. I was big fans when I was a kid because those were really cool miniguns. But, you know, the world's moved on. And Hasbro knows that, and they throw in other types of guns. And sometimes they're fictional, and sometimes they're based on real modern designs, and I appreciate that. But as far as these Uzis go, you know, you've got the extra silencers. They go on there as well. Do they look terrible? No. But do they impress me? Only in that they got the extra care, just like the other weapons did. But no. And they don't impress me any more than when I see these patent gold or these gold-plated AK-47 or Desert Eagles or whatever street gangs like down in your the street gang appeal of these gold-plated weapons always makes me laugh. That's what it reminds me of. And maybe the Crimson Guard do that with more legitimacy than, say, an urban gang. I don't know. But overall, guys, that is your Crimson Strike team. Sorry, straighten up, lady. Just because you're articulate doesn't mean you have to be. And honestly, I feel like the Baroness, I would equate her to, I would say, probably a $45 to $50 figurine for sure. Given the options she has, she's definitely a deluxe figure. And the accessories she's brought and things like that, I think, I gotta know if I was wrong about that other face sculpt for the brothers. I thought the brothers had some sort of face mask as well, but maybe it was just the Paoli's, just the Baroness's sculpt that had it. Thought there was one for the brothers as well, but I didn't see anything else in any other boxes, so I'm assuming that's it. And if not, I'll look quite foolish in my own video, and I'm pretty used to that. But listen, yeah, that's pretty much it. These two, I rate them as average figures with better repaints, but I mean, in the end, it's the same. So if you're going about, let's say, 35 and 35 in Canada, 35 for each, that's 70. And then I'm going to go up to a $60 deluxe. So 71, 130. Yeah, it's fair. I don't think it's any great savings. I think it's on par, and I think actually because I paid 136, and that was with a membership, and for a place to get me a bit of a discount. I think 150 on the standard retail market is what they're looking at, and that's about $20 more than my own math just equated it out to. But then you take into consideration these custom bases and other little things. I think after that point, that's that fudge factor of what you choose as a consumer to accept a price for your joy, right? So for me, this whole price incorporates what I feel about the figure as far as joy as well. Again, like I said, big surprise with this Cobra thing. I did not expect this to be a factor in anything that would impress me, and it did. I did like that. I do enjoy these accessories. I like having two different glasses. I like having not one, but three heads and two hairs to choose from. That really opens her up. That's why I say she's like a $60, well, $50 to $60 in Canada deluxe figure for sure. But the custom bases is nice too, and I hope to see more custom bases for more sets in the future. I don't know, has anybody picked up that His Strike team? Do they have them? It'll be interesting. But guys, that's it. An unintentional happy moment, and just something new to build up what one army I am going to really kind of army build, which is my Crimson Guard. And just to show you, I am building a Joe Troop build army, but I mean, that's going to be slow going, right? And you really you can't do Joe to the scope of these guys in the same way until those 60th anniversary figures start pouring in, and they're going to be a big price point too. Like, I'm not going to buy a lot of them. I'm just going to get enough that I've got some je ne sais quoi on my shelf, right? So, hey guys, listen, you know the usual drill: like, share, subscribe, whatever you want to do, it's fine. Thanks again for sharing your time with me. That's it for today. That's the oh, I almost forgot the playability grade and tack grade. I'm going A+ on both. There wasn't anything that really unimpressed me. In fact, they just improved on the loadouts, and when you do that, the tack loadout makes sense for them, things like that. But it really wasn't about that. I'm judging based off of, were they an improvement on their original? I think they're a vast improvement on the original somehow, some way, just by repainting them and rethinking a few aspects of them, changed it. But yeah, anyways, like, don't, whatever. Share, don't, whatever. Subscribe, and just hang out with us here at our murder scene with us crusty old crows. Anyways, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.